start off by just talking about the process, which I don't have login details yet. So just know that we had about 304 RFPs in total, and we have about 38 scorers. So over the weekend, what I did was I assigned scorers to RFPs in a spreadsheet, and basically that spreadsheet went to the MassQ folks who are going to enter it into a new system that we have. So we have a new system that's an online system for scoring RFPs. So basically, once they get them in the system, all of the assignments, you will be given instructions for how to log into the CVent system. And when you log in, what you will see are just your 50 RFPs that have been assigned. So I've assigned, basically every RFP will have 5 scorers assigned to it, and that's all that you will see in the system is your RFPs. And so, like I said, once the login information is ready, it's going to go out with instructions on, how to log in and how you're going to go in and provide scores. So one of the things about the scoring is you're only going to be able to enter a score from 1 to 5 into the system. Oh, it looks like we have a new person. Hi, Nancy. Nancy, can you hear us? Oh,
bless you, who's ever having been sneezing.
I'll assume that she can. I'll just say hi, Nancy, here in the chat.
Hi, there we go.
Okay. So you'll get the instructions for doing that. What I'm planning to do tonight, and just take about 15 minutes or so, is to go over the rubric for how you're going to score and the worksheet, because I think it's easier if you score on paper. At least that's what I've always found. In the past, we've had to score over 100 RFPs. I mean, it's been crazy, and it's really hard to just do it on the fly. So so one of the things, because we have multiple categories, you kind of have to come up with what the average score based out of 5. So the worksheet should help you to do that, I hope. So we'll go through that. So questions about that so far? Have you all had a chance to look at the worksheet that I updated?
I have.
Okay.
Yes.
Can I ask, is 300 RFPs a large number? Is that normal?
I think it's the most we've ever had. I don't think we've ever scored. Normally we've only had like 9 scorers or so, that have actually scored, and we all scored every single one of the grants in the past.
Right.
So, but as we've been seeing, every year it gets bigger and bigger. This year, to have 304 of them, it's a good thing we came up with a new system, because it's just so time consuming to score them. So we'd rather have quality scoring than quantity. And like I said, with the new system, we're able to allocate, 50 per person. We will have 5 scorers per RFP, and I think, that will give us a very fair way to score everything without everybody having to score 300 of them, which would take, take the whole month to do. It really does take a long time.
Now, when any time frame for when we'll get them?
So I expect that you're going to get them this week. So I just sent the spreadsheet to Shannon at MassQ. She's the person who's inputting everything yesterday, and I know she's working on it. So once she gets them all in there, I've asked if I could just see the procedure. We've already made up a procedure, but I want to run through it, make sure it's correct, and then we'll get it out to everybody with the logins.
And then finally, what's the turnaround time?
And so we said that we would like to have them back by May 26th.
Oh, that's a good time.
So you have about a month to do.
Yeah. Oh, that's plenty.
Right? Yeah. And my suggestion is, you have 50. My experience, again, I've been doing them for a lot of years, is I just do a certain amount, like at night, like maybe just 5 a night or 10 a night, and then, as many as you can do in a night, and then just kind of go through them and keep them. So I've given you the worksheet for scoring.
Right.
And the reason, it's just easier, I think, like to go through, put the RFP, the first thing I want to say about the worksheet is we are not going to collect them, but you should keep them for backup. and they'll help you for then when you want to enter the scores into the system. So I do recommend you use something outside of the system, do the scoring, because it's going to take you a while to do, and then when you have everything scored, then go into the system and put them in. As you can see, there's 6 areas that you're going to score on. So content, application, educational soundness, validity of the session information, transferability, and speaker expertise. So I was going to go through these,
Yes,
each of these areas, and just kind of talk about them and see if you had any questions about them. So content, number 1, again, that's about what are the objectives of the session, that they're clearly stated. And also, we are looking for folks to come up with titles that are somewhat engaging. I don't want to say catchy and glitzy, but engaging, so people are interested in going to the sessions. We have so many people, a lot of sessions. So we want proposals that have been thought about and that are going to engage folks in wanting to attend them. So if you could see around, 4 and 5 here, that the learning objectives are clearly stated, and that the session and title descriptions are catchy and make sense, right, for engaging folks into the session. In general, I'm going to tell you that a session that averages below a 3 typically is not going to get into MassQ, right? So we really are, most of the time we're, in the 4s and 5 ranges on the sessions that go through. I'm not telling you to overly, I think, what we're expecting is people who don't score, have never scored before, tend to be really lenient and score higher. But, we're looking for proposals that are solid and in that 4 or 5 range. So that's what you want to look at. Application. So, it says here for number 4, the materials presented could be used in many academic disciplines as well as many grade levels, demonstrates promising or emerging practices. So again, it's fine to have proposals that are geared towards, elementary school or middle school or high school. What we don't really like are really specific things, things that have a very specific tool that you have to use that not everybody would use it. Things that have a wider appeal to folks will get higher scoring on this rubric in general. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so questions about application? All right. Educational soundness. So, best practices and things is what this is all about. So, that the proposal demonstrates that the person that's going to do it understands how to deliver professional development and is using a variety of techniques for engaging the audience. It's not going to be just stand and deliver. They're trying to engage them, whether it's interactive or they're just thinking about how they're presenting their information to the folks, right? If presenters, that will be the last one we'll talk about. But, that they're an engaging presenter and that they know how to use a lot of instructional practices. That's what we're looking for here. They're going to be providing the audience with great lessons and things that they can take back to their classroom and ideally use the next day, right? Those are the sessions that are higher, would be scored here higher. So questions on that one? Okay. And then validity of session information. Again, in general, I don't know that you need to know that it's research-based practices per se, but, if you see a proposal that's on personalized learning or blended learning, you want to know that the person that is delivering it has not only implemented it, but they're using best practices around those kinds of things. Project-based learning, right? Somebody that's learned from the Buck Institute or things like that. Those are the kinds of things that we want to know, that these are instructional practices that they're sharing that have been, successful, they're best practices, they've been research-based. Right?
Yeah, so this was the only area I really had questions.
Okay.
should we be looking for specific reference to research or key thinkers, or is it really just our feeling after reading through it?
Your feeling after, I would say your feeling after reading. I don't know that, I do know that the people who submitted did get this rubric, so, if they follow the rubric, they should be putting that in, but I would hate to exclude someone, who has a great session on robotics and all that, and they don't specifically cite, like, where their practices are coming from, just in general, I would say, it really is a feeling with these. And again, the more you know about the session, the more information they give you, the better you're going to be able to score it. But that's the thing. If your session is really vague and you're not getting enough information, then, it's not going to be scored. You shouldn't be scoring it as high.
Okay.
Grace, I guess I would ask, would we include, so somebody's talking about blended learning and their description says, this is how, you'll be learning about how we implemented it at our school. So to me, that would be validation that the person is actually practicing it.
Right.
So you would score that high.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Can I just add that I've put in proposals, I've presented twice, I think, and I never talked about any of that in my proposal, so.
I don't know that we've ever put out a rubric. We're getting tighter on things than we have before, so I don't know that we've put out this rubric before. The rubric we had prior to this one was general, and I'm not sure that it was actually put out to the speakers. We used it for scoring, but I don't know that we actually gave it to the speakers before they sent it in. So, so we'll see what happens this year.
Okay.
With it.
Did you share how many presenters you're looking for?
You don't have to worry about that. We will narrow it down. Because like I said, everybody is getting 50 RFPs to score. So we will score all of them. And then, it will be the committee that will come together. We will rank them by their scores. And then typically what we will do is, if we need to, if we have too many, and we will have too many this year, what we typically go through is a process of, say we have many times speakers who put in multiple presentations, and if we want to bring in some newer speakers that maybe are more at the bottom but are still within our field, we'll cut some of the speakers that are doing multiples down, right? And we will eliminate speakers no matter how they're scored, because I did notice there are some speakers that are more vendor speakers, in there. So things like that don't usually, even if they get scored high, don't usually win out over the classroom teachers and the schools that are presenting. So, we do that process if we have to get to that, because we have way too many applications and we want to get some new people in.
All right.
Do you also find, Grace, that you've got many people on the same topic?
We do, but that's not as worrisome as sometimes, but because we have so many sessions, do you know what I mean? We'll put times that's not as worrisome as one person maybe putting in, and I've seen there were some in there that put in 4 or 5. That's the other thing I want to mention is that you may find within your 50 that you have multiples by the same speaker, and we did that on purpose. We want you to score all of theirs, because I want to see within, this presenter put in 4, and I want to see which ones you rated higher. Right, higher versus lower of that speaker. So if we have to make those decisions, we can do that, and it's based on the same scorers. Okay. And then the last one, I think the last one is the most problematic in the rubric, because you're not all going to know all the speaker expertise, right? You're not going to know who all the speakers are. So, my feeling on this one, it lists here for 4, presenter and co-presenter have not presented this topic in the past, but have presented on other topics and received outstanding reviews. And presenter and co-presenter have presented this topic in the past and received outstanding reviews. Well, you're not always going to know that as a scorer. If you don't know the person at all, you have no clue, I would really recommend that you don't rate the speaker expertise column, and that when you figure out the calculated score, you just divide it by 25 instead of 30 on the score sheet, and then just put something in the comments.
Okay.
Because it's not really the way it's written. It's not really fair. You know, you all don't know who the speaker is. You can't rate their expertise, and it's not fair to even include it in the score. So that's how I would handle that one, and I will put something out on that to everybody because